going to go ahead and get started. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Frozen Tundra Tuesday. It is Tuesday, January 27th, and we are calling to order our council meeting for tonight. We have present councilors Henry, Iverson, Deckard, Wiltz, and Feidel. And we don't have Councilor Hawk in person, but I do believe she might be joining virtually. So when she does join, we'll be sure to announce her arrival here, but we will go ahead and get started. So next up is the Pledge of Allegiance. So all those that are able to stand, please stand for the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Next up, we will have the adoption of our agenda. But before we get into our agenda, I do want to say for the public that's watching, it's nice and sunny right now. However, when the sun goes down and the roads still aren't the greatest right now, out of abundance of caution for those that will be in person at tonight's meeting, and for our staff that has to drive home, I just want to make sure everybody gets home safe and sound. So we are capping tonight's meeting at 8 p.m. I will ask my colleagues to help us move this train going. We got 3 hours to do our business, and we will do so as fast and as meaningful as we can. So I just wanted to put that out there for everybody to know. So we will go ahead and proceed with tonight's agenda. Okay. Do we have any amendments for tonight's agenda? All right, and seeing none. Oh, yes, I do. The only thing that I was going to add is the clerk's items that we have here. I know we have some attendees from the clerk's office joining virtually, and some folks have to leave early. So I would like to bump up their items immediately following our consent agenda items. So that is the only amendment that I'd like to make for tonight's item or agenda. Which, are y'all following? Yep, just move them up since they had some people that needed to leave.
Consent.
All right.
And where are we moving those up to? What number?
We are moving those after the consent agenda items. So those will be the new item 7.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So because we don't have anybody attending virtually, all those that are in favor of adopting tonight's agenda as amended, signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Thank you so much, colleagues, for that. Next up, we have item 4, which is public comment. These are usually for items that are not on tonight's agenda. So you can, if we have members of the public that are here, you can come forward to the lectern here in the Nat U. Hill room. You can speak up to 3 minutes for items not on tonight's agenda, or if you are participating virtually, you can raise your hand via Teams. And looking out into the audience and seeing none, and then looking virtually, looks like we have somebody that is attended virtually. So looks like this person's name is Skip Daly. So Skip, you should be able to unmute yourself, state your name for the record, and you'll have up to 3 minutes to speak.
Thank you. Skip Daly is my name. Madam President, honorable council members, thank you for your time. And while I wear a number of different hats within the community, tonight I come to you not as a member of the local media, not as a board member of a local commission, not as an insurance professional, but simply as a resident of Monroe County. I first became aware of this matter out of a social media post made by Councilmember Hawk. I believe the matter to be so grave that I decided to weigh in and additionally make a few phone calls and send a few emails on the matter. There are roads in the county that did not receive plowing services for reasons beyond the reasonable control of those living in those neighborhoods. For whatever reason, there are legal fights currently ongoing between the county and some developers for allegedly not complying with regulations regarding their neighborhood, and the roads remain off of the county maintenance inventory. I'm not here to place blame on county departments, staff members, or elected officials on how we got here. I'm not looking to spark discussion at this moment about the long-term solutions, as I trust those conversations need to either happen and or get expedited. My concern is the current immediate needs of our tax-paying and voting neighbors. I understand that you are the fiscal wing and not the legislators of the county, but I was directly told by the highway department that they are not able to use county funds for private roads. Meanwhile, police, fire, and medical professionals cannot easily get to a potential destination. Residents cannot leave their homes, and quality of life is significantly decreased during this emergency. I look to this council to use the clout of the office to facilitate an immediate solution. Plow them out. Find the money or the means to make it work today, tonight. Worry about the legal cases and the blame of the situation and the future long-term solutions next week, but plow them out now. Germanium Lane is the one particularly in question, but our residents don't deserve to hand shovel 13 or 14 inches of snow from the road. Hearing the simple line that Monroe County cannot plow a private road is kicking the can during an emergency situation. Find a solution, make the money available to get this taken care of, be the answer tonight. And when the weather is more cooperative, help get to the bottom of this. But regardless of the circumstances that got us here, plow the roads. Thank you again for your time.
Great. Thank you very much. Are there any other public commenters wishing to speak on items not on tonight's agenda that are attending virtually? You can, again, raise your hand via Teams. And seeing none, we will move on. Next up is department updates, and these are for items that are not on the agenda. And just the person I was hoping to come up here. Thank you. And department heads usually have up to 10 minutes to speak on items not on tonight's agenda. And we have the wonderful Miss Lisa Ridge here from the Highway Department. Welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I just wanted to provide an update after the snow event this past weekend. Our crew began at 5 p.m. on Saturday evening, and we sent them home on Monday around 5 p.m. after 48 hours. We had approximately 45 employees working during this time, from management to mechanics, equipment operators, and truck drivers. We rotated crews consistently so that we could provide the rest of our crews, but had assistance available 24/7 throughout this time. The average snowfall was 12 to 16 inches across the county. The crew will be plowing all week, trying to widen the roadways. With extreme cold temperatures, the melting will be a slow process. We will continue to haul in more materials and be ready for the next storm event. I personally think our crew did an excellent job with the snowfall that we experienced this past weekend. The cost of this event from Saturday to Monday for labor, equipment, and materials was $297,812. $297,812.07. I also wanted to provide a little information about snow removal and private roads. Monroe County Highway Department receives their funding from the Motor Vehicle Highway Distribution. One of the factors that is part of this calculation is the road mileage of county-maintained roads. When we officially accept county roads for future maintenance, it is sent to the state, who then adds this to our funding. Private roads do not bring any funding to the County Highway Department. We are very restricted on what our funds can be used for, but most importantly, it must be on county-maintained roads. We have multiple subdivisions in this county that we are working along with the planning department that include issues of unfinished subdivisions. And we would be happy to share this list with you or anyone else, explain the issues that are outstanding, who the developer is, if there's a bond on file, what it would take to bring this subdivision up to county standards, which the developer agreed to bring to standards when they started their project. It could be a whole subdivision or a phase of a subdivision. It could be unfinished roads, trees, sidewalks, ADA curb ramps, and it could be more reasons why the developer has not finished the subdivision or they just simply walked away. When a developer is approved for a subdivision within the county, part of that agreement is that they will provide snow removal and all other maintenance until it is accepted by the county. As you can see, that doesn't happen. I have nothing but sympathy for the homeowners that are not aware that they might be buying a home on a private road. We are unable to maintain all these subdivisions with private roadways. If you take the snow plowing, which again, we are not allowed to use our resources on private roads, this only makes it matters worse, giving that developer more incentive just not to finish the improvement because the county has already stepped in. This has been an ongoing issue for the 38 years that I have been here. We do have some great developers in this county, and this does not happen with all of them. But as you know, the saying goes, when there's one bad apple, then you have rules and you have regulations. I hope there can be a solution to this issue moving forward. It would make things a lot easier on homeowners and Monroe County. But I also want to add, there's been about 3 or 4 subdivisions that Planning Department and Highway have worked with where their developer has walked away, the homeowners developed their own HOA, they used what bond money was left, and we accepted those roads when they were finished, just as we said we would in the beginning. So there are solutions, but we don't have the funds, we don't have the resources to do this for the private roads. And I do have sympathy for the people out there, but that's who's paying the price. But the developers just get to walk away and never look back. Thank you.
Thank you. And first and foremost, we just want to say thank you to your staff. You for, I think you said 45 employees working since Saturday night around the clock. Okay. So that's a lot of people that are out doing a lot of work, and nothing is perfect. And we knew things were happening, but again, everything just happened so fast. So I just want to make sure that we can give grace, but understanding the job and task that you all have to do. It's not us that are out there, it's y'all. So we appreciate, and I appreciate you all just like doing what you needed to do. And I appreciate you addressing that concern, because I think something like this happened last year where a constituent reached out to me and I was asking about that. And so it's a shame that the developers take advantage of that and place the blame within county when they really should look at themselves and think about the HOAs and how they can figure out how to make that happen. So I appreciate that.
And I do know that Skip had reached out to myself, and I gave him the explanation also. I know our legal department has been involved with uranium. Myself, planning department, legal department, the developer, their attorney walked the whole project last year, noted everything that was insufficient in that development, and the developer said he wasn't going to spend a dime in there. So now there's a litigation. We have tried providing the homeowners out there with private contractor names. We're currently working with Gentry East that has some private sections. I think we're close to having a solution with them to be able to stand up and take that section in that we promised if they made these improvements and they hired a contractor to get it done. We did the same thing in Emerald Trace. They used the bond money, got the work done. We accepted the roads as soon as it was completed. So we do anything that we can, but we just are not allowed to go in and use our resources to do private roads. Where do you stop? If we go do Geranium, are we going to go do the other 60 subdivisions that have private roads? We have development that's going on now. They're not being built to our county specifications. They're not being having things inspected at the proper time, but they're going to come to us and want us to take it in, and we will say no. But then it's the county's fault because we're not taking it in, but it wasn't built to our specifications. I don't know what the problem, I don't know what the solution is, but I still think it falls back on developers that do not keep their promise and the agreements that they agree to when they bring these subdivisions forward to the county. and ask for permission to build them. Then build them right and build them to what you agreed to. And don't leave these homeowners on a private road with no help.
Thank you. Real quickly, I'm gonna see if anybody has anything for Ms. Ridge before we can get through our agenda. Yes, Councilmember Wiltz.
I want to preface this with thank you for all that you do and all that your staff has been doing. And I know it's a monumental task, and I can't even imagine. I am wondering about that short-term versus long-term solution that the public comment referred to, because I too have had people call and then called your office and planning and tried to, intervene, and it's a quagmire with some of these situations. And at some point, though, it becomes a public safety concern, does it not? Not very
I see
often.
it. This has gone on for years, and
Yeah.
I can only speak. If I lived on that road and I knew I didn't have this help and assistance, I would make sure I did have a private contractor and work with my neighbors
Yeah.
while the county's going through litigation. I'm not blaming the neighbors. I'm not trying to put it onto them, but I know, in talking with our legal department, we've provided, and they have provided all the resources that they know to help these homeowners. I don't have an answer for the private roads. It's hard enough to take care of 700 miles of road. And again, I have sympathy for them. Would it be easy for me to just go drop a plow and plow that? And I wouldn't have had all the emails and the social media bashing? Absolutely. But I can't. It's not the right thing to do. It's not the proper thing to do. And I'm not supposed to use our funding that way, because then it takes away from the other areas that we receive gasoline tax. And I know it's out there that I pay my property taxes and I should get the road plowed. We don't get the property taxes. It's all based on the gasoline tax. So again, I have sympathy for all the neighbors. It's not just Geranium. There's many roads out there that are private in these subdivisions that are suffering. I just don't know how you help them all. I don't have the answers.
Okay. I'll take one more and then we gotta keep moving.
Do you know how many subdivisions currently where the developers are not doing what they're supposed to be doing? I live in a neighborhood that is very similar to this, and the developer actually is doing the plowing. So, and that didn't happen right away, but it's happening now. So how many actually are not doing the plowing? Do we know?
So we have, so I reached out to planning today to get an updated list, and we have over 60 subdivisions on that list that we're currently working with that could be subdivisions that are 20 years old. That I had a call today for one down a private road off Harold Road off Plateau Place. Developer walked from that one. I would say out of that 60, some of them are ongoing right now, but I would say some of those, the list I looked at before was probably 30 or 40 subdivisions with old issues of the developer not finishing the subdivision.
Okay. I didn't see Council Members Hawk's hand. And for the record, she is joining virtually. So Councilmember Hawk, and then after that, I will move on through the agenda. Oh, you're muted, Councilmember Hawk. TSD, can we help unmute Councilmember Hawk? Okay.
Okay, now it looks like it is.
We can hear you now, Councilmember Hawk.
Okay, right. Okay. As Ms. Ridge knows, people that have been contacting me and have been over the months and, shall I say, a few years. And so I wanted to make it clear, this is not through the fault of the highway workers. They will plow whatever roads that they are directed to plow. But this does appear to be a situation where the developers just have dumped it in the county's lap. And I think this is a big situation. It's not going to be fixed overnight. I think, however, we might just do as an emergency for those folks that are on that. I think it was on Geranium Lane where they have someone there that has hospital issues. But those are things, and I tried to make it clear, it's a county commissioner's decision. It's not the council's decision. And if they ask for an additional appropriation, it perhaps could be out of the rainy day fund for emergencies. But we can't do it forever until the developers step up and honor that bond or whatever they have signed to.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'll be quick, given the urgency. I know we're on a time crunch here, but I'm just wondering, I'm going to offer this out into the ether, and hopefully someone with the commissioner's staff hears this and I can follow up later. But I'm just wondering about this. I think it's unfair to dump on Highway for doing their job following the law, which they do second to none, and they've done the job really well for the last 48 hours. I think what we have, and Councilor Henry could speak to this better, I think we have an emergency management situation where people are on a street that we've identified both publicly and in discussion. We've got folks kind of trapped on the street, and I wonder about the commissioners exploring with emergency management, getting a contractor to get them in, out of there one time, this time, and then whoever this developer is for this, I don't know why we're not saying the name, but maybe we shouldn't say the name. Legal, wherever they're at, they'll know that. But my God, man or woman, whoever you are, get a plow in there. Come on, be a human, be a neighbor. In the meantime, we will have to be that person, or someone should. So commissioners, as you're listening, I think this is just like if we had water up, we had boats out, we had something out. I think we've got to do it. And let's take this pressure off Highway, which, my God, they do their job well enough. They clearly were bound by the state on everything else. I think this is an emergency management process, and let's do that and stop putting Lisa Ridge through this when she follows the rules, and we have a developer that apparently did not. So that's my recommendation.
Councilor
Only
Henry.
because my name was evoked, I thought I'd chime in. Thank you, Councilor Deckard. I would just add some technical to this, and I agree that the commissioners need to get involved. We had a state of emergency in the county. I never saw it published anywhere. I understand that there was a state of emergency declared or not. That's not clear. That'd be nice to know Thursday, because that document is what lifts ordinances out of the way to go do emergency things. I've asked county legal through Ms. Turner King to take a look at some code that may allow for that, but that's well beyond Ms. Ridge's. It's not you. That's not you. It's a commissioner's decision about how we declare an emergency in the county and what resources we can and can't do. But I would say that I took a look at that. I want to honor the fact there are 60 subdivisions in the county that are suffering this, and I just want to raise for the public's awareness. That's a lot of neighborhoods, and that's why our schools remain closed, because those neighborhoods are not open. And the schools, it impacts other parts of government in our community. So I would join in the chorus to the commission to really evaluate what the state of emergency really does for our community and what resources it can open up. But I would agree.
Okay. Thank you. We appreciate it. All right. Moving on. And for those who just joined here in the Nat U Hill room, I know we got a lengthy agenda here. But I did mention that due to the road conditions that could potentially get a little worse once the sun starts to officially set, I want to cap tonight's meeting at 8 so that we can get through everything. So I'm, again, asking council members here to help us get through this so we can get through everything and get y'all home as safe and sound. Next up, consent agenda items.
Council, I move to approve the following 4 consent agenda items for January 27th. Number 1, the Sheriff's request in Fund 1000-0005, County General Sheriff, to create account line 30190, promotion and advertisement. Number 2, the Health Department's request in Fund 1159-0000, Health Fund, to create account line 10189, Public Health Nurse Communicable Diseases, and simultaneously transfer $80,615 from the services category to the personnel category. Number 3, the Health Department's request in Fund 8104-9626, Public Health Emergency Preparedness Grant, to transfer $4,902.86 from the services category to $4,687.47 into the supplies category, and $215.39 into the services category, for a total transfer of $4,902.86. And number 4, the Highway Department's request in Fund 1112-0530, Economic Development Lit Highway, for a transfer of $489,743 from the supplies category to the services category.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Is there any questions or comments from council? Seeing none, if we have public comment on this item, you can come forward to the lectern here in the Nat Yeho room, or you can raise your hand via Teams. And seeing none, just like with everything that we have to do this evening, because we have Councilmember Hogg attending virtually, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Fidel,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz,
Yes?
Counselor Henry,
Yes.
Counselor Deckard.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0 unanimous.
Right, thank you very much. Next up, because we amended the agenda, we bumped up the clerk's items to come next following the consent agenda items.
Just for clarification, I'm going to start with what was item Y. Are we all on the same page?
Yes.
All right. Council, I move to approve the clerk's request in Fund 1112-0000 Economic Development Lit Voter Registration for an additional appropriation of $600 in the supplies category.
All right, we got a motion and a second, and I see that we have Kylie that is joining us. And it looks like we also have election board member Penny Githens joining as well too. So welcome.
Hello. I have a statement from Clerk Brown that she has prepared. Kylie Ferris, currently serving as the election supervisor for Monroe County. Thank you for allowing me to appear before you. I'm presenting on behalf of the Monroe County Clerk and the chair of the Monroe County Election Board. As I relayed to you guys during the public comment section of the last meeting and during the item as well, the clerk noticed after the budget has been finalized that the cuts were drastic and that we would then have to come back to ask for appropriations. Per state statute, Indiana Code 3-11-10-26, early voting hours only have to occur during the regular voting hours of the county clerk's office for the 28 days prior to the election. The Monroe County Clerk's office is open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monroe County voters are accustomed to early voting on Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. With the reduction and allowing composition hours from 60 to 40 and the elimination of overtime considerably, there will be insufficient manpower to accommodate the more than 10 early voting and election voter registration office for during early voting. There is more to this. I feel like it would be best to just pass this forward to you guys. Really, I just am here to answer any questions that you guys have. Just trying to get out how much that we are missing, where we need, and trying to make it to where we can get this pushed through as quickly as possible, because we have an election board meeting next week. And right now it's just kind of a bunch of back and forth trying to figure out how we're going to move forward for early voting and election day this spring in May, and just want to answer any questions you guys may have.
Okay, thank you very much. I will open it up to council. Councilmember Iverson.
Thank you for being here on such a snowy night. I'm going to refer to the questions I submitted earlier, so these shouldn't come as a surprise, but it appears that in the clerk's office supplies, there's still a lot of budgeted funds since we just passed the budget a month ago. So I'm still a little confused about, with a brand new budget being passed, you're asking for $600, but can you kind of explain that a little bit more?
I will say on my behalf as election supervisor, my main priority is going to be poll workers and the overtime for the staff in the office, seeing as last year alone, after doing some of the numbers myself personally, I had worked a little bit over 200 hours of overtime last year with the election. So just ensuring that those are in place in order for us to continue conducting business the way that we always have, to be accessible to the voters in Monroe County.
I'm sorry. I've been with kids all day long, so I'm in like second grade brain here.
Yep.
My understanding is this request is about office supplies, not about overtime or staffing lines. Is that correct?
So I believe this first request, yes. But then moving forward, the other ones, no.
Sure. Right.
Yep.
Right. Okay. So again, there's sufficient funds in this account. It seems like this request could easily be used with the budget that we just passed a month ago. Okay.
Okay. And she's not the elected.
I know.
So I just want to make sure that we don't you're on the hot seat just because by nature. But I just want to, you're doing good because you're here. So we appreciate that. Yes, Councilor Henry.
Thank you, and thank you for coming in. I guess my first question, maybe Michelle, can we pull the budget for the clerk's office to see what those lines are, or do you have it? Do you have the number for the supply line? What we budgeted?
Of how much is in there
Yeah,
currently?
yeah.
Yes, I can do that for you.
And I guess that's really it, right? I mean, if this would be an in-house transfer to handle it, that would get you through the primary. I presume there's $600 in there somewhere. Thanks for finding it to be absolutely sure. Thanks for coming. Michelle, is that it there?
Yes. There has been appropriated for that particular line that's requesting the $600, $1,900, and there has not been anything spent out of it at this point.
Ms. Ferris, you think that could get you through the election primary?
Yes.
Okay.
And then if you need more after the primary, you just come back. That's, okay.
All right. Any other questions? Okay. So because we don't have any other questions, I'll go to public comment. If there's public comment on this item, you can come forward to the lectern here in the Nat Yeho room or raise your hand via Teams. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Iverson,
No.
Counselor Feidel,
No.
Counselor Hawk,
No.
Counselor Wiltz, nope. Counselor Henry,
No.
Counselor Deckard,
No.
Counselor Crossley.
No.
Motion passes or fails unanimously 7-0.
Okay, next item.
Council, I move to approve the clerk's request in Fund 1215-0010, Election Fund Voter Registration for an additional appropriation of $4,625 in the services category.
Second.
Okay, what would you like to add to this?
Can I get clarification that that line is not going to be connected to the customs line?
I don't know what you mean.
So there's a line that's for the contractor that we use for the IT. I'm just trying to make sure that those two lines are not connected.
For office supplies?
No,
Oh, this
no,
is
she's
another
talking
office
about these two lines. I guess I'm not understanding what you mean connected, because you have an account line printing and subscriptions, and you have an account line training and travel.
Okay. Sorry. Thank
Okay.
you. These two lines, the training and travel, there's going to be a IVRA conference that is going to be closer to home this year. We are looking at trying to get as many individuals to that conference as possible. In the past, we've only done one or two, with it being long distance. We want to be able to try to get as many staff members there as possible since it will be so close. And then the other line was for printing and subscriptions. With the move to the new location, this is going to be a big situation with trying to get the word out to voters in Monroe County. With the looking at what we expended from this line last year and what we are expecting to be expending this year, we feel like it would be best to go ahead and get the appropriation for this line, as the cost is going to be more because it's another year. Prices are always going to increase, but also we're going to have to do more mailings due to the move.
Okay. Yeah, Councilor Iverson.
I have essentially the same questions that I had on the last item. We just passed this budget a month ago, and there's quite a bit of unexpended dollars in the services line. The vast majority of this could be handled by what's already in there. You know, we had lots of conversations about the budget, and we tried to budget pretty close to what folks needed. So again, I mean, we could pull the unexpended dollars in this line, but there's quite a bit in there.
Yeah, I will say Clerk Brown, I think her main thought on trying to get in here as soon as possible is so that we're not having to come back in between elections or during an election.
The difference, and maybe the number has changed, based on what I had earlier, was there's still $4,500 in unexpended dollars in this fund. So the difference is $125. I mean, it's being shown on the screen here. That could be an internal transfer. I don't think I can support this based upon what the unexpended dollars in this brand new budget is being shown on the screen.
And just to explain what's on the screen, the printing and subscriptions account line was appropriated $4,000. Nothing has been expended at this time. Training and travel was appropriated at $2,375, and there has been a claim for $321.44 for that. So that leaves a balance of $2,053.56 for the budget for that.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions or comments for Ms. Ferris? Councilor Wiltz.
Yeah, thank you. So just to kind of follow along, the existing balance in the printing and subscriptions will cover through the primary what you think needs to be done in terms of letting folks know about the move?
Currently, my consideration, yes, there should be. It might be coming close, but as we said, that we can transfer internally.
And are you aware of, gosh, I sound like a lawyer. I don't mean to sound that way.
You're fine.
That sounded horrible. On the night of, there's been one claim on the training and travel. Do you happen to know what that is?
Yeah, so the state conference for Indiana Election Administration was in December, so that would have came out of this year's budget.
Oh, would it? Okay. All right, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on this item here? Yeah.
So thank you again. These requests, did they come by way of an election board vote recently, these additional requests? Or did the board vote on these before they came?
The final number, the clerk and myself went through to see where we were short on certain lines, and then we had decided how much to ask for in appropriations. The election board was informed of the, sorry. The election board was informed of where we're in a deficit for the election next year. So they had also agreed that we should come back to the council to see about the appropriations and then move forward from there.
All right. Oh, and I see, looks like there is a hand raise. So I'll go to Councilor Hawk, and then it looks like election board member, Penny Githens, also has her hand up. So I'll go to her. I'll go to Councilor Hawk, and then I'll go to Miss Githens next.
Yes, I would just, since I heard the response was they wanted to make sure there was additional dollars so that more of the staff could go for the training. There's so much training that's available online that they can do. We have a good one coming up again tomorrow. And so I think all of the departments are going to have to take a look and make sure we're not spending more than what we really have, because we know we have to look at the budgets hard this year. Should do it every year.
Thank you, Councilor Hawk. All right, Ms. Githens, if you can unmute and you can go ahead.
Okay. While I was aware of the fact, serving on the election board, that Ms. Ferris was going to come this evening, the election board was not given precise numbers, and we did not vote on these precise numbers that are being brought before you tonight.
Okay. Thank you. All right. And seeing no other questions or comments from council, I'll move forward with public comment. If there's public comment, you can come forward to the lectern here in the Nat U Hill room. You'll have up to 3 minutes, or you can raise your hand via Teams. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Feidel?
No.
Counselor Hawk?
No.
Counselor Wiltz?
No.
Counselor Henry?
No.
Counselor Deckard?
No.
Counselor Crossley?
No.
Counselor Iverson?
No.
Motion fails 7-0-7.
Okay, next item.
Council, I move to approve the clerk's request in Fund 1215-0062 Election Fund Election Board, an additional appropriation of $221,106 in the personnel category and $21,675 in the services category, for a total appropriation of $242,781.
Second.
Okay. Would you?
All right, so this is going to be where the poll workers are for on election day and during early voting. These are the lines that we will definitely be looking at needing to get appropriated for. So the primary, however the primary is ran, is how the general has to be ran. So if we have a set hours during the primary for early voting, those same hours have to apply to the general. This is where we are kind of coming to a tie and don't know how to proceed until we either have the dollars or we don't have the dollars. Right now, there is two different proportions where one will go to cutting early voting hours to 8 to 4 instead of 8 to 6. And then we will also be having to reduce the Saturday election day early voting hours as well to the minimum. That one, I believe, is 7 hours minimum on the Saturdays. These are both things that we don't want to do, but if the money's not there and that we know that it will be there for the general, we don't feel comfortable doing it one way in the primary and just hoping that we can have it the same in the general. This is also a situation with the number of polling locations. We had 29 polling locations this last election, 2024. Right now, we are looking at reducing that to 22, but we were notified that one polling location will not be being a polling location, so that will have to reduce to 21 unless if there is a location in Monroe County that would be open to being a polling location.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council on this item? Councilor Henry?
Thank you. Ms. Schell, I don't know if you could pull up or find the Excel sheet where we did during the budget cycle where we compared the 2024 versus what we budgeted, because that's really the crux of this. And I appreciate you coming in on this, because I think this was one space during the budget cycle where, I think from my seat anyway, we looked at a series of budget numbers. And what we didn't account for was the adjustment in pay to poll workers between the primary and the general election by the Board of Commissioners, right? So the number that we ended up approving in our budget was a percentage up from the primary and not really accounting for that difference, the pay bump. Now, I know that sounds plaid in the room, but I guess I'm trying to figure this out by maybe a few absentee lines here. So absentee worker A, you have a request for $68,880, which is, how did you derive this number? Like, why that number?
So by all of this, we had taken every day of early voting and we had divided each of those in half for the primary and the general. If we do the full 8 to 6 every day, like we have in the past, there's always 2 shifts. So it's estimating the number of poll workers at each of those locations, well, on each of those days of early voting, and then multiplying that by how much they would be making each day.
So there's an estimate for regular early voting hours, and you're short $68,880, according to what the commissioners agreed to pay those persons.
Correct.
There's no additional percentage increase in pay.
No, and I've actually even reduced the number of poll workers already for the numbers that we give you this year. So we had taken back quite a bit during early voting. During the 2024 general, the first 2 weeks, we had a smaller number of workers. The second 2 weeks, we had a higher number of workers. From those numbers, I have reduced even more for this next election.
Thanks. In October, as soon as we took that vote, you were all very gracious to have me over to do an Excel sheet comparison of what happened during the budget. And at that point, I thought we would have saw this request much earlier than where we are now. My next 2 questions have to do with B and C, because and I know this isn't, I'm looking at an Excel sheet that the public doesn't have here, but it was a document shared by the clerk's office. Absentee B, the regular EV hour difference that I thought we had in October was 32,400. Here, the request is 41,300 in what you have in the packet tonight. Do we know why the change? Because the 6880 matches what I heard in October. This doesn't. This is off by almost 9,000. So.
Yeah, so I believe that there might have been rounding up after it had left from the numbers that I had given.
So similarly, absentee C, the regular EV hour difference was about 24,432. Your absentee C request tonight is 49,416. So while the absentee A seems to be close to what these other 2, they're off by a bit. Let me ask this: do these numbers reflect a 29 poll location, or these are early voting, right? So they're not
early voting is the ABS.
Okay, so this. But does it reflect a full hour, 8, like
yes,
the
8
usual
to 4.
hours?
8 to 6, yes.
So this would be 8 to 6, but even still, the B and C lines seem to be larger than what even in October we had talked about.
Correct. So B, when we had gone through, we had noticed that the requested amount during the budget season was lower than what it should have been. I then added in who is supposed to be paid out of that line and realized that those were not in the correct line.
I guess maybe Ms. Schell, thank you for throwing that up quickly. What is the current appropriation for these? Because ultimately, you all can come back and ask for additional appropriations between the primary and the general once we've locked in those poll locations. We have to do it the same. So whatever, and there's ample in the fund, right? So what was the approach for these account lines?
This column right here. Whoop, dadgummit, sorry.
That's why we're not getting. I'm kidding.
This column right here, which is in, was what was approved for. And then here's the 2024, here's 2025, 2024, and 2023. So.
That's the
Well,
difference.
it all depends on what, I can make them bigger, but what specifically do you want to look at? Do you want to see the personnel part right at this moment? Okay.
Absentee B particularly, right, where we have,
Yeah, absentee B is the one that even I was questioning why the original number was what it was.
if we needed more time with this, what does that do to the timeline for the election board to approve polling location?
We should have approved polling locations and early voting hours at the January meeting. So we are currently a month behind.
We're pursuing 22, not 29 right now.
They would prefer 29.
Is that contingent on this vote tonight? Because these two line items are a little messy. Okay, that's all I got.
Okay. The only other thing that I'll say to this is I know we have been, it's been said in some of the, and this is not to you at all, Ms. Ferris, I just want to make it abundantly clear. And watching some of the election board meetings, it's been a little dismayed at the fact that it almost feels like it's the county council's fault if we don't do certain things. But we have said during last year's budget purgatory is what I like to call it, because it was a lot, that you all could come back for additional appropriations as needed. And so I just, I saw some of the messages out there via social media, and it was, definitely said that if council doesn't do this, then, we might have to drastically cut back. And I don't want for a second, anybody to think that we are trying to dismay or reduce things here. We just got a fiscal job and we have to do it. And we're trying to hold our ground and stay to that. So, however my council members think of how we should proceed here, I just want to make it explicitly clear that we have expressed that should the clerk need anything else ahead of time, we can get on the agenda. People could, attend virtually or can also attend here for additional appropriations as we proceed. But I just wanted to note that for the record here. Yes, Councilor Decker.
Thank you very much. This is the line item area that I kind of get the most keyed up on watching, because I think it's the one, not to diminish anything else, but I think it's where the fruit is on what actually happens or what doesn't happen. And as we were looking at these lines, I was talking to Councilor Wiltz, these very definitions of absentee workers A, workers B, workers C, I remember, I think when you started here, we had that whole curve.
Yeah, that was fun.
Whatever word about it. I remember there was a little bit of smiling and frowning and crying all at the same time. But one thing I just want to say on that is, I recall on that, we were mid-flight, not ideal, but adjusting things as we went. And we had a lot of absentee workers that came in here at one point because you all were literally in season of doing that.
Yeah, I had poll workers on the verge of walking out during that that time.
I think I went in there to do something and they called me everything but Trenton Deckard.
Yep.
But the reason I bring this up is I do think this is one to watch particularly hard, particularly as we go forward with planning. But to me, because of our current predicament and situation, I want the early voting to be the early voting that is the will of the public. I mean, we've heard from at least one party chair. I suspect we'll hear from the other on it because it's a bipartisan election board. But my preference would be that we keep, as a council, pretty limber about coming back here to say, here's what early voting cost looks like, and here's where we need to add in, with the hopes that we do achieve some savings over time, but we don't defund the entire election, because I think there's a bipartisan support for what happens in there. I mean, it's clear with those workers, but we are at the issue that it is January versus the May, where we're trying to figure out those classifications. So I would actually offer to council that this be held here as an item to come back to as we start to look at that, I'd almost say it's a motion to keep it indefinitely so that they know that door comes in, because I don't think we're that hard to come back in and ask for additionals here.
And Michelle has her hand raised.
I just want to say that in order, because it is additional appropriations, you have to table it to a specific date and time.
Can
So
you
you
table?
can't do it indefinitely. per
But could
se.
you table it to multiple dates and times so that you preserve the option?
No, you can only do one date. We get to that date, you can table it forward.
Okay.
We've done that in the past
Yes, we
with
have.
some other departments where we've gotten here, we weren't quite ready yet, and we just moved it.
And we
Okay.
just move it. So you could set a date for in the future. We get to that date. If we still don't know what's going on, you table it again forward.
Okay. So
We have to do that because of DLGF. We have
Sure.
to assign it a certain meeting date.
So, yes, Counselor Iverson.
In that instance, then, I do move to table this item to the February 10th meeting, which is our very next meeting.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to table to February 10th. Are there any additional questions or comments from council related to this? Okay, yes, Counselor.
Yeah, I'll be
Henry.
very brief. So for February 10th, like, I think the way to move this forward would be, I need the change that gets us whole to the 2024 cycle on these positions, right? So whatever was changed, because I think what we're discovering on the fly here is the numbers aren't, I mean, one of them looks right, two don't. And so it really is coming in and saying, here's the difference. This is what needs to be done to get us to what we think we need. Does that make sense? I think we tidy that up, a lot of this moves quickly. That's it. Yeah.
Counselor Iverson?
And the other benefit to this is that we can all be watching and participating on the election board meeting on January the 8th, which happens 2 days prior to this coming back to council.
February.
That's what I said.
Okay.
Was it really?
Counselor Wiltz.
This is about the issue as a whole. Would you like me to wait till after we decide to table? Because if we table it, I wasn't sure if I was still able to ask.
Well, because if we motion to table it, that's it. Like, if it goes through, then there's really nothing else that needs to be said. So, do you want to just, okay, okay. All right. Anybody else that has any questions or comments related to this? All right. If there is public comment on this item, you can come forward to the lectern here in the Nat Hill room or raise your hand via Teams. Sound like a commercial. All right. And that being said, Michelle, can we please have a roll call vote?
What's the motion?
The motion is to table this item to February 10th.
Okay, on the motion to table, Counselor Hawk,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz,
Yes?
Counselor Henry,
Yes.
Counselor Deckard,
Yes.
Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Fidel.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
Okay, thank you. And so looks like that is all the business. All right, thank you, Ms. Ferris, for coming in tonight. All right, next up, we will jump back into our regularly scheduled program with the agenda.
And we're going right back to item number 7A for those of you keeping track at home. Council, I move to open for discussion and possible approval of the prosecutor's request to be exempt from the hiring freeze and to be allowed to hire in Fund 1000-0660, County General Child Support, the case Child Support Caseworker position, and in Fund 1000-0009, County General Prosecutor, the Legal Secretary position.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second, and I see that we have our prosecutor joining us virtually. So please, you should be able to unmute and go ahead. Okay. TSD, does she have, or can somebody help her unmute?
All right, I think I
Okay.
got it.
Yes, we can
Just
hear
took a
you.
second. Apologies. All right, I'll try to go quickly. We must post and fill our case manager position as soon as possible. This position will be vacant Monday, February 2nd. The current person in the position is retiring this week after many years in county service, so it's a happy occasion. But this position is responsible for gathering and providing information from custodial and non-custodial parents for establishing paternity and child support orders to ensure children receive necessary financial and medical support. They monitor compliance in cases where such orders have already been established. They prepare arrearages when non-custodial parents have not paid as ordered. This specific position carries a caseload of 507 cases. The child support program in my office is responsible for establishing paternity in cases where that has not been done, locating absent parents, establishing child support orders, particularly where a child and custodial parent are on TANF, which is temporary assistance for needy families, or Medicaid benefits. And then enforcing child support orders if they're not paid. And we can use things like wage garnishment, suspension of professional or driver's licenses, and tax intercepts as required by law. Our child support program did receive the 2019 Haynes Turner Award from the Community Justice Mediation for its efforts to right-size child support orders and work with non-custodial parents to overcome barriers to compliance through things like treatment and educational efforts. Custodial parents, non-custodial parents, and legal guardians can all apply for child support services through the prosecutor's office, regardless of their income level. But the case manager position is an important part of the team, routinely monitoring cases, entering and processing payment information to ensure timely receipt of payments, and identifying non-compliance issues early. The case manager is responsible for a lot of communications with custodial and non-custodial parents regarding payment of child support. This program has a direct and immediate impact on children in our community, particularly those who are in need of TANF and other benefits. So without effective case management, delays in delays in payments may be exacerbated. I would note that the salary and benefits are reimbursed by approximately 2/3 for this position under Title 4D due to our mandatory enforcement for those receiving those federal TANF benefits. So at this time, I'd entertain any questions that the council may have.
Okay, thank you. All right, looking to council here, either at the dais or virtually to see if anybody has any questions on this item. Nope.
I do.
Oh, okay. Councilor Hawk, go ahead.
Right. And I was trying to see the agenda on split screen. Are we speaking right now just of the child support caseworker? Or I think I heard the motion read that it would also be for the legal secretary. So I would like to.
I thought we were just doing the case manager, but I do have notes on the legal secretary. Am I mistaken about where?
Yeah, the motion was read for both to be heard at the same time. Mm-hmm.
Right, I'd like to split the question, please.
Okay. Okay. So, and Councilor Hawk, you want to just divide the questions regarding the child support caseworker and legal secretary to clarify, right?
Right, that's correct.
Okay. So we need a second.
Second.
Okay. We got a motion and a second to divide the question there. Any discussion with council related to dividing this question? All right. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Iverson?
Yes.
Counselor Feidel?
Yes.
Counselor Hawk?
Yes, is this the vote to support the first part of the question or just the vote to support?
This is the vote to split.
Oh, okay, yes.
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Counselor Henry?
Yes.
Counselor Deckard?
Yeah.
Counselor Crossley.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
Okay, so first up, it is the child support caseworker. So Counselor Hawk, did you have questions about the caseworker?
Not at all. I think we need to support that.
Okay, all right. Counselor Iverson.
And I think the fact that this receives that reimbursement, approximately 2/3 via the federal 4D program, I think that's really helpful in this case as well.
I'm looking to my left here, see if anybody has any questions. Okay, and seeing none, I'll go to public comment. If you have public comment on this particular item, which is the child support caseworker, you can raise your hand via Teams, or you can come forward to the lectern here in the Nat U Hill room. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Fidel.
Yes.
Counselor Hogg.
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz.
Yes.
Counselor Henry.
Yes.
Counselor Deckard.
Yes.
Counselor Crossley.
Yes.
Counselor Iverson.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
Okay, next up is the item for legal secretary. Counselor Hawk, did you have a question about this one?
I just think that that's not supported with that reimbursement, correct?
That's right. May I read? Sorry, I didn't read my comments on that. May I please do that?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. It's imperative that we be able to post and fill the position of legal secretary as soon as possible. This position will also be vacant effective Monday, February 2nd. The person who was in this position would love to stay with our office, but was offered and recruited a position in Greene County, which is closer to home and pays significantly more with fewer duties and responsibilities. One of the primary responsibilities for the legal secretary position is discovery compliance for 4 assigned deputy prosecutors in my office. The current caseload is 1,143 cases. This is the highest caseload due to the specialized Circuit Court 2 caseloads. So pursuant to Indiana Rule of Criminal Procedure 2.5, we are required to provide discovery to the defense in all criminal cases 30 days from the date of initial hearing. So when we initially file a criminal case, the legal secretary receives the initial batch of police reports, attaches them in our case management system, which is web-based, builds files, and runs the calendars of initial hearings to ensure that these cases are ready for court. After the initial hearings, the legal secretary must read through those police reports to identify what additional items of evidence or information need to be requested from law enforcement agencies or other departments. This can include body-worn camera videos, 911 calls, photographs, surveillance videos, forensic interviews from Susie's place, medical records, laboratory results, autopsy reports, certified copies of records, or other items referenced in the initial police reports. These items are requested, and then as they are received, they are attached within our case management system, and then a copy is provided to the defense. Discovery is an ongoing obligation. Any new information that we receive on criminal cases must be timely shared with the defense. This particular position includes sex crimes and felony domestic violence offenses. This means that there are some extra obligations, such as filing protective orders to prevent copying of sensitive digital evidence, notifying defense of child sex abuse material that cannot be legally copied and shared, but must be available for inspection by defense counsel, redacting medical records, preparing no contact orders, and other measures to protect victims and witnesses in these sensitive cases. During the pendency of the case, the legal secretary is also responsible for drafting and filing certain motions and other documents, issuing subpoenas for various hearings and trials to witnesses, and otherwise assisting deputies with case processing. Until we can fulfill this position, the other legal secretaries, who also have very full caseloads, must absorb the slack. And this is a recipe for getting behind on discovery or making mistakes that could compromise sensitive information. So what happens if we don't meet our discovery deadlines because the legal secretaries can't keep up? Well, there are very severe consequences. If we can't get the case to trial due to the state's late discovery, It could mean that a serious violent offender is released from jail, or it could also mean that if it's been a year since the initial hearing, the case could be dismissed with prejudice pursuant to Criminal Rule 4 and never be heard on the merits. A less punitive but still very serious sanction is that the court could order a late discovered piece of evidence excluded from trial, which could jeopardize our chances of a successful prosecution. I would also just add, it puts us attorneys at risk pursuant to Indiana Rule of Professional Conduct 5.3 for us attorneys. Our law licenses are on the line if our non-lawyer assistants cannot meet legal requirements and expectations. So we must have sufficient support staff to meet our legal obligations, and that's challenging to do when we're fully staffed, but it's going to be impossible if we have missing positions. So if you have any questions about the legal secretary position, I'd be happy to answer those for you.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or comments on this item? Yes, Councilor Iverson.
Thank you, Madam Prosecutor, for being with us today. I hope that you're staying warm and safe where you're at. I cannot find the org chart for whatever reason for your department. Again, I've been with kids all day long, so I've got a second grader's brain right now. How many legal secretaries are in the department?
Let me think about it. We have 2 who do intake functions, and then we have 1 who acts as a receptionist, and then we have 5 who do these discovery compliances and ongoing case maintenance that I've just described.
Okay, thank you so much.
Looks like maybe, okay, never mind. All right. Does anybody else have any questions or comments on this item? All right. And seeing none, I'll take public comment on this item. If you have public comment on this item, you can come forward to the lectern here and then at Hill Room or raise your hand via Teams. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Hogg,
No.
Counselor Wiltz,
Yes.
Counselor Henry, Counselor Deckard,
Yes.
Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Feigl.
Yes.
Motion passes majority 6-1.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Next
Thank
up
you.
is, you're welcome. Item B from the Highway Department.
Council, I move to open for discussion, possible approval of the Highway Department's request to be exempt from the hiring freeze and be allowed to hire in Fund 1176-0000 Motor Vehicle Highway, the mechanic position.
Second.
Ms. Ridge.
Good evening. So yeah, I'm just here to see if we can fill a vacant position, second mechanic position. And this is also funded out of the motor vehicle highway, so it's not out of the county general or doesn't affect the county general fund. We have 1 master mechanic, and then we have 2 open mechanic positions. You had already approved us filling that position, so I'm asking to fill the second one.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions or comments on this item for Ms. Ridge? Councilor Wiltz.
Is this position currently vacant?
It will become this Friday.
This Friday. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? All right, seeing none, we'll take public comment. You can come forward here to the lectern in the room, or you can raise your hand via Teams. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Feigl,
Yes.
Counselor Hogg,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz,
Yes.
Counselor Henry,
Yes.
Counselor Deckard,
Yes.
Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous 7-0.
Okay, thank you. All right, next up is our ongoing business items, and we'll start with A.
Council, as a reminder, this item was tabled from the January 13th council meeting. I move to open a discussion regarding law clerks.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. And I see that we have Judge Dekoff in our room here, and she will be present at the table here momentarily. Welcome.
Good evening.
Good
I'm
evening.
primarily here because from the January 13th meeting, which I was not present for, but I watched, Councilmember Henry asked that I attend. I want to start off by saying that at no time on the 13th did I, and I take responsibility for this. This is not my colleagues. This is not any other judge. This was not me as presiding judge. What happened was we had 2 law clerks that we put in to get paid. And all of the years that I've been on the bench, law clerks were never considered employees. We were told that that we needed to submit as employees. I called the county attorney. The county attorney told me that she would submit a resolution to the council with the law clerks in them so those 2 could get paid, as we had done in the past. We had done this during hiring freezes. They have never been affected. So this is on me. It never occurred to me that there was going to be any kind of discussion or debate. I apologize to you for the time that you took. Had I been here, had I known that was going to happen, I would have been here to answer your questions. I would have so answered your questions because I did not think that this was going to be an issue. And it was, and Councilmember Henry said during that meeting that times are different. I get that. We would have appeared before you. We would have asked for them like you wanted us to. It just had not occurred to me. In an attempt to answer a couple of those questions now, we do use unpaid law clerks. We prefer law clerks that are getting credit from the law school. We prefer that. We get law clerks either because I teach there as an adjunct, Judge Stafford teaches there as an adjunct. We know of people, Judge Bradley has contacts, Judge Salzman, and so if somebody wants to be a law clerk, it's invaluable experience for them, and it's invaluable to us. They do the things we don't really have time to do. They do extensive research. They come to court. They take notes. We can consult with them. They're invaluable. And in answer to a question that was asked during the 13th, if we didn't have clerks who did this, who did, it would be us. So that is what law clerks do. In 2025, we had 18 law clerks, 3 we paid for. The other 15 were getting it through credit. The one that I have this semester and the one that Judge Salzman has, with me, it is because she began a project that is ongoing. And so I wanted her to finish that project, and she could no longer get credit from the law school. Judge Salzman's law clerk is in the same position. She had her doing some things, and she wanted her to continue. We pay them $14 an hour. We do not let them work more than 10 hours a week. And most of the time, if they work 10 hours a week, I'd be surprised. We have never considered them our staff. We have never considered them anything but quite helpful to us. We get their assistance and they get expertise. So that's what law clerks are about. I told Councilmember Wilt and I told Councilmember Feidel that I'm embarrassed that that even happened. In fact, one of my colleagues was like, "Oh my God, that was so embarrassing." Like what? And I'm like, "Yes, I know. This is on me. I believed it was going to be what it had been before, and then you all had to take the time to address this." And I so apologize. That's never what I thought. I know Councilmember Hawk called me egregious. We certainly did not mean to be egregious. I didn't mean to ignore our liaisons. I just didn't think it was going to be an issue for the liaisons. If I thought it was going to be an issue at all, I would have been here. And we certainly would have asked the way we were supposed to ask. So to assure everybody, I'm not here to ask for anything tonight. You approved the 2 we had. Thank you very much. We are not asking for any more during the semester. We don't need any more during the semester. They are semester positions or summer positions because that's the way that the law school operates. And we know that. We know that we'll have a law clerk typically for a semester. Could we all use one? Yes, but what we do is share. My law clerk is available to the other judges, as is Judge Salzman's, and there are other judges this semester who have clerks who are doing it for credit, and we share them. Somebody else said, I have this, I need this, and we say there's a clerk available. We would like them to get as much experience as possible. So that's how they're utilized. But I certainly meant no disrespect to you at all, or to circumvent your process, or to think that we're the third branch of government and we can do what we want. That was never, ever never did I have that intention. It was simply that this had never been an issue, and I did not think it was going to be an issue. So I appreciate the 2 you gave us, and in the future, if we need law clerks, we will certainly come to you and put forth the argument as to why we do need them. But I just wanted to explain to you that's how we've always done this and how we've seen it. So you asked me to be here to answer your questions, and I'm pleased to be here to answer your questions, because I didn't really feel bad about the hour you spent debating this on the 13th, because, oh my gosh. So trust me, I know how valuable time is, and I know how valuable time is arguing about something that somebody could have just taken care of. So yes, so whatever you need, here I am.
Well, we appreciate that, Judge Dekoff. And I mean, I'll speak for myself. I've never been in this position before where we've had something like this that has happened. So I don't think, I would say for me personally, I don't think you all took that as we're, staying in our lane and doing whatever we want here. That's not how I think that is. So I appreciate you giving that explanation to us and providing clarification. Maybe we did need to have that conversation so that this conversation that we all know. So out of it was an hour-long conversation, there came a lot of knowledge, and you just clarified a bunch of stuff, at least for me. So I appreciate that. So thank you very much. I see my hand wave, but I'm gonna look over here first, see if anybody had any questions. Councilor Wiltz, and then I'll circle back over here.
I just want to say that Councilor Feidel and I worked together to kind of send an update email to the judge explaining the nature of the discussion and the outcome. And I want to thank you for, we tried to have a meeting. It did, our schedules didn't work. But Judge Dekoff responded quickly and explained, kind of how we got to where we were. And I certainly don't think it sounds like it was anything other than a rushed agenda item that wasn't thought through. And that's not on you. That's, I think there's just, it was kind of a multi-step issue. I don't have any questions for you. You answered all of my questions in the email, and I very much appreciate that. And I apologize for the feelings of embarrassment.
Thank you for coming in and answering the questions. I know my name was brought up there. I mean, there was an hour of sausage making. I didn't get a sandwich out of it at the end. I'm sorry we went through that with everybody. But I guess my question is this, though. You'd mentioned summer interns. So if there's some thought to hiring summer interns under this new idea that we really do need to understand how the dollars are being spent in the hiring freeze, do you anticipate those? What's the advertising for those? What's the timeline? When do you start collecting summer interns? Because it sounds like we might be there again in a few months.
We would typically start knowing interest of law clerks, or whether we needed to have to try to find a law clerk that would need to be paid sometime, I would say, towards after about the middle of the semester, so sometime April-ish, where we're going to start knowing that. But again, our preference is going to be for them getting credit other than our paying them. So we have paid a few through the years, but typically we're going to get interest from students who say, I want to stay in Bloomington for the summer, I can get some summer credit, are you interested in a law clerk, et cetera. So right now I can't tell you definitively that there wouldn't be somebody that would want to have a law position that isn't in the position for credit that for some reason we would want. But a lot of times we may have one law clerk during the summer because somebody's doing it for credit. But typically I would say it's the semesters, and usually those students are doing it for credit. So.
Thank you, thank you, Your Honor, for bringing that to us. I think to Councilor Wiltz's point, it was an agenda item that was presented with not a lot of context, and so we've definitely scrambled in public on those. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Councilor Hawk.
Yes, I thank you, Judge, for coming and discussing this with us. And I think it's a learning curve for all of us. This is really going to be a tough year, and we'll all have to do things differently than what we would like. But I thank you for coming and showing the respect to the council, just as we need to show respect to the courts. And so to that end, I'm glad to see you here, and we'll work this out.
Because I mean, I do want to make clear, on the 13th, I kept hearing, do they not know there's a hiring freeze? Like, what is wrong with them? There's a hiring freeze. Yes, we are aware there's a hiring freeze. We're respecting the hiring freeze. Again, I did not, and the county attorney said, oh, we're going to do the resolution like we've done. I'm like, okay. And so again, yes, we are aware. And it's important that we communicate and we understand each other, because in 2027, for the first time since I've been part of this system, we are going to lose a court. And the thing about losing that court is, right now, currently in that court, there are over 4,000 cases. Those 4,000 cases have to be now dealt with without a court. So we are going to have to also, in our arena, we have a meeting set up in April to start looking at what we are going to do and how we are going to take care of those. Those are 4,000 right now at the beginning of 26. So we are going to also have to experience some things that we have never experienced before. And I definitely did not want to do anything that was going to impact the relationship that we have with the council. So again, I appreciated being asked to comment and appreciate the opportunity to explain to you from my position what happened. So I apologize for your time, and I apologize for the misunderstanding. So I hope I've answered your questions.
Yes, Councilor Fido.
I just want to thank you for coming here myself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. All right. And I think we can all learn from all that. Communication goes a long way with everybody. So we appreciate that. All right. Next up is item B, but I will have Councilor Iverson discuss that first before we move into the next.
Council, based on what we just heard from the presiding judge, I move to table this item indefinitely.
Second.
Okay. There is a motion and a second. Not yet. Yeah, no, it's okay. And that is because if you recall a couple of weeks ago, the conversation was brought up because it had something to do with the law clerks, but since we all got our answers there's nothing that needs to be said, or as Forrest Gump said, that's all I have to say about that. So that being said, we can all laugh. It's okay. All right. So that's it, folks. All right. All right. So no other further questions or comments. There is a motion and a second. If there is any public comment on this item, you can come forward to the lectern here, the Nettie Hill room, or raise your hand via Teams. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote to table this item indefinitely.
Councilor Wiltz.
Yes.
I think I know what your confused look is. Yep. Councilor Henry. Councilor Deckard.
Yes.
Councilor Crossley.
Yes.
Councilor Iverson.
Yes.
Councilor Feidel.
Yes.
Councilor Hawk.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
Okay, thank you. And again, that was to table the item regarding the law clerks. So next up is item number 9.
Council, I move to approve the courts. Yep, sorry. Council, I move to approve the prosecutor's request and fund 9. You're up there.
Oh, you're an A. Sorry. Prosecutor is B and item is
Item A is courts.
Yes. So you, Ms. Hamlin, will come directly after courts. Sorry.
All right, getting our steps in.
So
Council, I move to approve the court's request and fund 1213-0000 GAL/CASA grant to create account line 38350 grant distribution and simultaneously approve an additional appropriation of $85,897 in the services category.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, I come with good news. Our CASA program has received 2 grants for this year, totaling the $85,897. So I'm just here asking that they both be appropriated. The money, I understand, has already been received, so we can get the money to them.
Congratulations on that. Any questions or comments for Ms. Abraham on this item? Nope. All is silent. Congratulations. All right. For public comment on this item, you can come forward to the lectern here or raise your hand via Teams. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Henry,
Yes.
Counselor Deckard,
Yes.
Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Feidel,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
Thank you.
Just give you a heads up, I'll be back on February 24th. I've submitted for 3 more grants that we've received. So I'm
Nice.
trying.
Okay. We appreciate it. Thank you. Now is item B for the prosecutor's
That was
office.
B. All right,
Yes.
I got it. All right. Council, I move to approve the prosecutor's request in Fund 9159-9626 High Tech Crimes Unit Fund for an additional appropriation of $151,642.27 in the services category.
Second.
All right, Ms. Hamlin. Now you're up.
Good evening, counselors.
Yes.
I heard B. I got so excited. I hustled right up here. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
This is a request to appropriate the High Tech Crimes Unit Fund for 2026. The source of the funding is a grant from the Indiana Prosecuting Attorneys Council and is in the net amount mentioned. The funding period starts January 1st of 26 and goes through the end of the year. The Monroe County High Tech Crime Unit is overseen by Prosecutor Oliphant, directed by Levi Minnick, and covers an 11-county area: Monroe, Bartholomew, Brown, Greene, Jackson, Lawrence, Marion, Morgan, Orange, Owen, and Washington counties. The HTCU forensically processes computer-related materials to obtain evidence in criminal cases. In 2025, the numbers were that we opened 188 individual cases. They processed 358 pieces of evidence for 42 different organizations and processed 20 terabytes of evidence. Happy to take any questions.
Okay. Any questions or comments for Ms. Hamlin on this item from council? Seeing none over here. Seeing none over there. Don't see Counselor Hawk's hands raised. Okay, so we'll move on to public comment. You can come forward to the lectern here, or you can raise your hand via Teams. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Deckard,
Yes.
Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Feidel,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz,
Yes.
Counselor Henry.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
Thank you. We appreciate it. All right, next up is item C, the Convention and Visitors Commission.
Council, I move to approve the request from the Convention and Visitors Commission in Fund 1127-0000 Convention Visitor Tourism Fund for an additional appropriation of $600,000 in the services category.
Second.
All right, welcome. We got Mr. Campbell here. Welcome.
Yes, well, thank you very much. So have a quick update for you from the Convention and Visitors Commission in November, we voted and approved up to $600,000 for development of a downtown visitors center in our downtown location. We have a location selected near the new convention center, and this would be fully funded through the innkeeper's tax. It's interesting, in 1988, when we moved into our current visitors center, we were on the main thoroughfare into town. And that is no longer the case if you've been out to our visitor center. So we've been in that location for 37 years and the world has changed. Nobody stops in for maps anymore. You have one on your phone. And this move will allow us to engage the over 1,000 hotel rooms that will be in the downtown area. And the visitors and the community members that live and work in downtown, this will be a resource for them to understand and explore the rest of Monroe County and all of our attractions and shops and restaurants we have to offer. So it's certainly the time, and it also coincides with the opening of the convention center and will allow us to engage not only the visitors who are here, but also to encourage those event planners and convention planners coming to our community to say, is this where we want to host this event? Being able to walk right across the street and then on board and show all the great things that are in this community. So happy to answer any questions. This would come from the general fund, and we are asking for a separate line item so we could track those expenses that are going specifically for that. If not all of this money is used, then that just returns to the general fund for the Convention and Visitors Commission, not the, yes, not your general fund.
Thanks for that clarification. We appreciate that. And it makes sense to have everything downtown. So
I think so.
Yeah.
It's just different now.
Yep. Everything is all working out. And I saw Councilor Hawk she was first to have her hand up.
okay.
So I'm going to go Councilor Hawk, and then I'll turn to my right here for the other council members.
Yes, can you share with us the plans for the existing building and that property there? I believe that is, or at least one time it was in the name of the county government. So I'm not sure exactly where we stand on that, but would like to have an explanation about what is plans for that property.
Well, you're not getting rid of us just yet, so we are still planning to occupy that building in the interim. So this convention or this downtown center would be a customer-facing or guest-facing portion of that. Now, our intention is long-term is to move the whole staff downtown, and at that point, it is in the county's name and would revert to the county. I don't know that we would have a use for it after that, but I wouldn't anticipate that we will still be in that building for the next couple of years at least.
So I anticipate that you'll continue to maintain the building and in good repair.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
As we've always done.
I know. Appreciate it.
Councilor Henry?
Thank you. I'll be brief, and good to see Mr. Campbell. I'm on the CBC on behalf of council, so I got a little bit of a preview of what was coming. The early design mock-ups and things are going to be really interesting for the space, and I look forward to the foot traffic, even for local residents buying mugs and tchotchkes and holiday things to send to family to tell them to visit Bloomington more often. So it's a good project. It's just bringing our convention core together. All good things. Thank you for bringing it in.
Thank you. Looking to my left here, I'll go Councilor Feidel and then Deckard next. And
So I understand you're coming downtown, and is it possible to tell us where that location is?
Yes, so we're selected the below the 4th Street garage. There's a vacant lot or vacant space at that point. It's the closest one to the expansion of the convention center. So that proximity both to all of the traffic in downtown and the convention center, really make this an ideal location for this operation.
So that brings up parking for me, since you're going to be in that space. So will there be adequate parking in the garage to service your needs for people coming to see you, visitor center people?
Well, I think so. It's a visitor garage anyway. And so that is the purpose. And so having that there means it's already built in.
So are there adequate places in the garage currently during the daytime to service you?
I believe so. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Councilor Deckard.
Thank you very much for your comments. I'll also be brief. I just love the comments that you made about the years in change, because in this community so often we get very rooted in it's always been and it can't be and it's never been. The reality is this community is, because of some of our status, has always had some changes going on. So I appreciate that. I also appreciate the patience with which you all have towards some of the change, particularly around the convention center, because it's been a long haul, but you've been more successful than most public discussions or projects than I can recall in some time. So thank you for that.
All right. And just because they're here, I just want to shout out your convention center board. Hi. Thanks for being here. All right. If there's public comment on this item, you can come forward to the lectern here, the Nat Hill room, or raise your hand via Teams.
I need to ask a question.
Sorry.
That's
Yes.
okay.
I'm sorry, Michelle.
Since this is a contractual line, do you guys have a contract?
We have not signed a contract yet. We need to make sure we have the funding to do that. But yes, we would engage with an architect and a GC.
Okay, and when you get that signed, we need a copy of it for us to link to this appropriation.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure we had the money before we signed the deal.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Okay. All right. And so we will move on to public comment here. So it looks like we already have a hand raised. And everybody has up to 3 minutes. So I see one hand already raised, and it looks like we have movement here in the room. So it looks like Commissioner Thomas. All right. So Commissioner Thomas, you'll have up to 3 minutes.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I want to thank Mr. Campbell and the members of the Convention and Visitors Commission for their great work through all of this. And I agree that this is a great idea to move this office downtown. It makes total sense. But I remember there was some discussion early on that the Visit Bloomington site was offered for the 3rd Street location of the existing convention center. In other words, it would be in what is currently a meeting room would be made available. And that what you're committing to is rental at the 4th Street garage that you wouldn't have to pay if you were in the existing convention center. So I don't know if you could offer any information on that. Thank you.
Yeah, you can after the public comment. And then you can totally do that afterwards. So yes, please come forward to the lectern, state your name, and you'll have up to 3 minutes.
Hello, my name is Talisha Kopic with Downtown Bloomington, Inc., and enthusiastically support this request. Our downtown community is super excited. Visit Bloomington is such a professional, well-trained staff, and they've done such a great job of promoting all our small businesses and attractions, and this is just the next level of hospitality for our community, so it's pretty exciting. And, the hope is growth and development and more interactive and deeper connections with our locals and visitors on all that we have to offer. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Is there any other public comment before Mr. Campbell comes up and addresses Ms. Thomas' questions? Seeing none, Mr. Campbell, if you want to go ahead and address that.
Yes, Commissioner Thomas is correct. We did consider a room or vacating or occupying a meeting room in the convention center proper in the older section of that building. We declined that for the reason of we need that space to sell the convention center. So the loss of a meeting room, a breakout room, I think would, in the long run, be something we would kind of kick ourselves for doing. So we need that large space for the event space, for that expo venue, and then the breakout sessions that go on. So we decided to preserve that so we could better sell the convention center. So I hope that helps.
All right. Thank you. We appreciate that. All right. And seeing no other further question or comment, may we please have a roll call vote on this item?
Counselor Crossley?
Yes.
Counselor Iverson? Yes. Counselor Feidel?
Yes.
Counselor Hawk?
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Counselor Henry?
Yes.
Counselor Deckard?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
All right. We appreciate it. Thank you. Next up, item D from the Aviation Department.
Council, I move to approve the Aviation Department's request into Fund 4801-0000 Aviation Construction for the creation of a new account line 30006 Contractual Services and simultaneously approve an additional appropriation of $74,035 in the services category.
Second.
All right. And it looks like we have Mr. Carlos Laverty joining us virtually. Please go ahead and proceed.
Okay, greetings.
Oh.
Greetings.
Okay, great. They just added me to the meeting. Thank you. Okay, we're good to go. So we are requesting an additional appropriation from the construction fund to create a new account line, contractual services, for $74,035. Is the audio okay there? I'm getting a really bad echo.
No, we can hear you.
Okay. Following up on work done by SM&E and AP Engineering Consulting for geotechnical testing in the area around runway 1734, we engaged CTL Engineering for additional testing. This was to ensure basically that we had no karsts in the airfield area. There was some earlier geotechnical work that we paid for, if you might recall, last year that kind of raised some eyebrows. So we consulted with CTL to do some additional geotesting for $49,035. And that confirmed the fact that there were no additional karsts. We wanted to be, very sure that we had no dangers approaching the main runway on the airport. So that's item number one. Item number two is the airport purchased an additional runway snowplow from the Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport Systems for $5,000. This is a large 27-foot runway plow. And if you'll recall, we had already received 6 pieces of equipment from Minneapolis-St. Paul through the help of the Indiana University Athletic Department and the Cook Group. We had received 2 27-foot plows, 2 rotary blowers, and 2 18-foot runway brooms with their generous help. And during the transaction, we had the opportunity to acquire 1 more 27-foot runway plow. So the airport went ahead with that purchase for $5,000. And so now that we have these 7 pieces of runway size and airport specific snow removal equipment, we're also seeking additional appropriation of $25,000 to cover that $5,000 purchase, and then to allow us to do some upkeep and some maintenance, particularly the runway brooms that we acquired. They all have to be re-bristled from time to time. So we already purchased $12,000 in bristles, and those were put on last month. And with all of that snow equipment that we have in place now, I can pretty proudly say that we made it through this storm without having to close the runway. We allowed the small crosswind runway to close, but at no time during the storm did our main runway close.
Thank you. All right, and looks like Councilor Hawk has her hand raised first, so Councilor Hawk, proceed.
Yes, thank you for the presentation. Just as a reminder to the public, this is out of the construction fund and not does not affect the general fund or the property tax fund or any other revenue. It just comes from that construction fund.
Thank you. Yes. All right, any other questions or comments from council on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to public comment. If you have public comment on this item, you can raise your hand via Teams or you can come forward to the podium here. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Councilor Iverson? Yes. Councilor Feidel?
Yes.
Councilor Hogg?
Yes.
Councilor Wiltz?
Yes.
Councilor Henry?
Yes.
Councilor Deckard?
Yep.
Councilor Crossley?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
All right. Thank you, Ms.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
You too. All right, next up is item E from our Parks and Rec Department.
Council, I move to approve the Parks Department's request in Fund 4113-0000 Donations Park to create new account lines as outlined on the agenda and simultaneously approve an additional appropriation of $3,000 in the supplies category and $164,800 in the services category for a total appropriation of $167,800.
Okay.
And we have Ms. Whitmer here, excuse me. Welcome,
Okay.
hello.
Hello. This should be very easy. These are donated funds, and by the end of August, I am calculating we should have $167,800, and that's exactly what I'm asking you to appropriate, plus add the 2 lines in there. I do want to add 2 words. The funds will be used at the Monroe County Nature Preserve Equipment Storage Building, related amenities, and memorial benches. So that's part of everything. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Ms. Whitmer? Looks like you stumped them. Oh, I'm sorry. We got one. Councilor Hogg has her hand raised. Sorry.
Hello, I just wanted to make sure that we all know that since she said that that's not the amount of money they have presently. So if the money doesn't come in as she has anticipated, she'll adjust the amount that she spends. That's the way the Parks Department works. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments? And seeing none, we'll go to public comment. You can raise your hand via Teams, or you can come here in the room in the Natty Hill room. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Councilor Feidel?
Yes.
Councilor Hogg?
Yes.
Councilor Wiltz?
Yes.
Councilor Henry?
Yes.
Councilor Deckard?
Yes.
Councilor Crossley?
Yes.
Councilor Iverson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night. All right, next up is item F from the Public Defender's Office.
Council, I move to approve the Public Defender's request to amend the 2026 salary ordinance in Fund 1200-0000 Public Defender Supplemental and remove account 13041 Senior Paralegal and simultaneously in Fund 1000-0271 County General Public Defender at account line 13041 Senior Paralegal 40 hours, Pat A, non-exempt.
And I'm going to look to our council staff, Michelle, here for this item.
During the budget process, the senior paralegal position for 2025 was in the supplemental fund. During the budget process, that position was moved to general fund and approved there in the general fund. But during a review of the salary ordinance, this was missed. So this is just to bring the salary ordinance and the approved budget together so that payroll can, process correctly, so.
Okay. Counselor Hawk.
Yes, can you give us a total dollar amount that will be going over to the general fund expense? And I'm assuming, shouldn't assume anything, I guess, but will this mean that that will just be a part of adding on to what we actually ended up budgeting?
No, this was a budgeted and approved already in the general fund.
Okay. Oh, okay,
So
thanks.
this is just to make the salary ordinance match what was previously approved back in October.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Michelle? Okay. Counselor Hawk, did you have another question?
I was trying to lower it, didn't I?
Oh, okay. It's good now. You're okay. All right.
Thank you.
Seeing no other questions or comment, if we have public comment, you can come forward to the lectern here, or you can raise your hand via Teams. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Hawk?
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Counselor Henry?
Yes.
Counselor Deckard?
Yes.
Counselor Crossley?
Yes.
Counselor Iverson?
Yes.
Counselor Fidel?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
Okay, thank you. Next up is item G from the Highway Department.
Council, I move to approve the Highway Department's request in Fund 1135-0000 Cumulative Bridge for an additional appropriation of $75,000 in the services category.
Second.
All right, and we have Ms. Ridge joining us virtually. Please go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So this first item is creating 2 new lines, one for Rockport Road Bridge 308, and the second is for the Eagleson Avenue Bridge 922. We wanted to put this into our cumulative bridge as a count line. So if there are any items that are not covered under the grant, it will be paid strictly from the local funds.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments from council on this item? Seeing none, if there's public comment, you can come forward to the lectern here, or you can raise your hand via Teams. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Counselor Henry?
Yes.
Counselor Deckard?
Yes.
Counselor Crossley?
Yes.
Counselor Iverson?
Yes.
Counselor Fidel?
Yes.
Counselor Hawk?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
Okay, and still sticking with the Highway Department is item H.
Council, I move to approve the Highway Department's request in Fund 1197-0000 Stormwater Management to create new accounts as outlined on the agenda and simultaneously approve an additional appropriation of $922,704.22 in the services category.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Ridge, what would you like to add to this?
So when we did budgets last July, when we started setting them up, we were hoping that these 2 projects would be done in the fall, and they were not. So we have a 2026 construction season for Redbud and then finishing up Stip Road. So we were appropriating what was left in those 2 accounts in 2025.
Okay. Any questions or comments from council on this item? Councilor Wiltz.
So the projects are ongoing, is that correct? Could you kind of give us an update?
Yeah, correct. Redbud, actually, we didn't start that because of the fall, but it has been awarded. And Stip Road, we're just doing the finishing. We need to wait for erosion and control and everything for the spring, and then we'll close that project out, I think. But both of these amounts are the contract amounts for the awarded contractor.
Any other further questions or comments from council? And seeing none, if there's public comment, you can come forward to the lectern here, or you can raise your hand via Teams. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Henry,
Yes.
Counselor Deckard,
Yes.
Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Feidel,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
Next up, item I.
Council, I'm going to be combining items I and J into one motion. I move to approve the Highway Department's request in Fund 8191-0000 Old State Road 37 and Dillman intersection to create account line 37416 design, approve an additional appropriation of $539,650 in the services category, and simultaneously approve a fund-to-fund transfer of cash of $58,150 from Fund 1169-0000 Local Road and Street to Fund 8191-0000 Old State Road 37 and Dillman intersection.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Ridge?
So this is a project that is 9010 federally funded. It's called a HSIP project, Highway Safety Improvement Project. It is for the reconstruction of the old State Road 37 and Dillman Road to improve that intersection with a roundabout. So this is for the design stage of it, and then the local match for design would be the $58,150. So that's what we're requesting to move from cash to cover our part of the 10% for design.
Okay. And I'll move on next to questions, and I see Councilor Decker has a question.
I'll just be really quick. I was exploring Dillman Road about 3 hours before the storm, and just all the work already happening around that area is making that 100 times more safer. So I was excited to see this on our agenda, and I just appreciate it a lot.
Any other questions or comments from Ms. Ridge on these items? And seeing none, we'll take public comment. You can raise your hand via Teams, or you can come forward to the lectern here in the room. And still none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Feidel,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz,
Yes.
Counselor Henry,
Yes.
Counselor Deckard.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
Next up are items K and L.
Council, I move to approve the Highway Department's request in Fund 8192-0000 2026 to 2029 bridge inspection to create account line 37416 design, approve an additional appropriation of $647,669.17 in the services category, and simultaneously approve a fund-to-fund transfer of cash of $129,533.83 from Fund 1135-0000 Cumulative Bridge to Fund 8192-0000 2026 to 2029 bridge inspection.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Ridge?
So we are required to do a 4-year cycle for our bridge inspections. Our compliance month is the month of March. This is an 80-20 federally funded program. So the grant creation is to be able to start that process in 2026. And the fund-to-fund transfer is what we anticipate our match to be.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council on these items? Seeing none, we'll move to public comment. If you have public comment, you can come forward to the lectern here in the room, or you can raise your hand via Teams. And still seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Feidel,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz,
Yes.
Counselor Henry,
Yes.
Counselor Deckard,
Yes.
Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
We appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Ms. Ridge. All right, next up is item M from the Board of Commissioners.
Council, I move to approve the Commissioner's request in Fund 4900-0000 Employee Morale to create account line 30185 Employee Promotion and simultaneously approve an additional appropriation of $4,972.24 in the services category.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. It looks like Ms. Angie Purdy is attending virtually. Please go ahead. Purdy, it looks like you're muted. Oh.
Yep, there we
Okay.
go. I just got the little notification saying that I could speak. So this particular item, you had actually approved late in 2025. However, by the time we actually received the product and the invoice, the budget was closed for 2025. So we're now asking to just have it reappropriated, but to give a little bit of more background, we went ahead and paid for this for 2025 using a credit card, thinking that this would have been heard by council at the first meeting of the year, but it didn't happen that way. And so the auditor went ahead and used it as an encumbrance and went ahead and paid that. So I'm hoping I didn't catch the amount, but it should be $2,632.78 is the request now.
Council. Yeah, go ahead.
So I believe that what we need to do is change the motion. So I'm going to move to amend the motion on the table to change the amount requested to $2,632.78.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to change or to amend the amount there to the $2,632.78. Is there any questions or comments on this motion? Seeing none. Okay. Can we please get a roll call vote?
This is on the amendment to change the amount to $2,632.78. Counselor Hawk.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yes, but I think Angie was coughing while I was saying yes.
Counselor Wiltz.
Yes.
Counselor Henry.
Yes.
Counselor Deckard.
Yes.
Counselor Crossley.
Yes.
Counselor Iverson.
Yes.
Counselor Feidel.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
Okay, thank you. And now we'll come back to the overall. I'll go to Counselor Henry first, and then I see Counselor Hawk has their hand raised.
Thank you, Madam President. Ms. Moat, I have some questions about just process here. I know Ms. Gregory's not here tonight. So there was a credit card expense before council approved the expense. So I'm trying to get a sequence of events here. Did we spend money before council authorized spending money? Did the county?
It was appropriated you guys approved it in 2025. However, the credit card statement didn't come until January of 2026. So to not accrue credit card fees and stuff, we went ahead and encumbered the amount from what you guys had approved last year into this year so that we could get that paid. And then we're just amending the amount of what we actually need to appropriate.
So we don't encumber funds like this anymore, right? We usually do this for bonds only at this point as a county.
Yeah, we're sticking to bonds, but since this was kind of tricky and we didn't want interest fees and stuff, they went ahead and moved it forward since it was just approved, I believe, in December, I believe, of 2025. And it just kind of missed that mark.
Okay, so that piece. So we appropriated it, but we missed the claims window for the end of the year.
Yes.
And Board of Commissioners missed the window for the end of the year. And then we put on a credit card and the bill's due Monday, and that's why we need to decide today. What's the due date for the credit card with the?
I'm not sure when exactly, because I don't do claims.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm
I know
sorry.
you're in the hot seat. Yeah,
I don't know the exact when credit cards are due, but I know that in order to not get fees with those credit cards, we had to pay it pretty quickly.
Yeah, oh, thank you. I mean, I'm only just drilling on this to say there's,
fine.
It's a standard of how we spend money, right? So if this seems like a small thing because it's a box of fudge through the Employee Morale Fund, but if it is a process where we saw a lot of this last year where something was expended and then there's a council asked to fix it on the back end to bring it into compliance with things. It's just new year, new opportunity to not do this, moving forward. I mean, we know the holiday is coming for 12 months. I presume we can get ahead of that next time. That's not for you, but that's it. Thank you, Madam President. I'm good.
All right. Thank you very much. Councilor Hawk.
Yes, many of us remember when we used some of those dollars for that marvelous Christmas luncheon we used to have, and many of us miss it. That ship has sailed, I believe. But I'm wondering if there's a group that might be able to give some suggestions about what we might do for employee promotion. That's the kind of thing where you might have a picnic out at one of the parks for the employees or something. To pass around donuts at Christmas time, that's lovely, but not everybody's there. Not everybody eats donuts, and it's kind of just not up to par to what once was done. And nobody's expecting the commissioners to be able to come up with money for this marvelous banquet we used to have. But there might be something other than passing around donuts that might be better appreciated. Just my thoughts.
Appreciate that. Thanks, Councilor Hawk. Is there any other questions or comments? Oh, I see Ms. Purdy has her hand raised. Ms. Purdy.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to respond to Councilor Henry's statements, and that is we didn't fail to process anything. This was purely a timing issue that caused the problem between the close of the 2025 budget, which happens before the end of 2025, and then the use of the 2026 budget. So we did everything in compliance with time. The problem was by the time we were going to get that invoice, the budget was going to be closed for 2025. I spoke with the auditor's office at that time to come up with a potential solution. And so that's how we ended up with the credit card. And so that's why we paid it on the credit card, and we would not have had to encumber anything had this been on the first council meeting, but it wasn't.
Okay.
Why wasn't it? I'm sorry, Madam President. Was that because the request for the agenda wasn't put in a timely manner? Like, walk me through that.
You chose not to put it on there. I was told that there would be no additional appropriations on the January 6th. I believe you have that just as a organizational type meeting. It wasn't that I forgot to do anything.
And that's typically how first meetings of the year usually are. Okay.
It made sense to me at the time.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments from council? All right. Seeing none, I'll go to public comment. You can come forward to the lectern here in the room, or you can raise your hand via Teams. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Counselor Henry?
Yes.
Counselor Deckard? Yes. Counselor Crossley?
Yes.
Counselor Iverson?
Yes.
Counselor Hawk?
Yes.
Counselor Feidel?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
Okay, next up is item N.
Council, I move to approve the Commissioner's request in Fund 4933-0000 PSAP Lit for an additional appropriation of $156,607 in the services category.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Purdy, please proceed.
Yeah, this was a situation where during budgets, it was brought to our attention that the amount submitted in Lao was off $156,607 from what the anticipated revenue is going to be from the rate that's established for the PSAP. And so a bunch of us were talking and we thought it was going to get taken care of on the October 8th meeting, but budgets were crazy and things didn't happen, to no one's fault. So I just want to put that out there. And so then, given this is a 26 budget, I just had to wait till the beginning of the year to request this additional appropriation. And yes, the previous city controller and the current city controller is aware.
Thank you very much for that explanation. Is there any other questions or comments from council on that item?
Yes, Counselor Deckard.
I just have a quick one. So who submits this into Lao? I know there's multiple, whatever. Who does that? You do it?
It was me. Yeah,
Okay.
I do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I put it in there and I don't know, I get the numbers. So getting the final number is sometimes not the most easy due to different timings between the city and the county and when the rates come out, actual amounts come out. So that's what happened is I thought that was the number initially appropriated was correct, but there's clearly going to get 156,000 more.
But between everything at the county and everything at the city, really, nobody really noticed until more recently, right?
Yeah, well, Jessica noticed it during the budget. That's how, because we thought we could fix it. You know, it was before the budgets were done. And the original plan was to just correct it during the budget process, but it kind of got dropped at that time with, I don't know, everybody. Haggis.
Oh. The virtual pups are back. All right. Any other questions or comments from council? Seeing none. Nope. We gotta go to public comment. Public comment, if you got something to say on this item, you can come forward to the lectern here in the room or raise your hand via Teams. Oh. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Counselor Henry?
Yes.
Counselor Deckard?
Yes.
Counselor Crossley?
Yes.
Counselor Iverson?
Yes.
Counselor Feidel?
Yes.
Counselor Hawk?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
We appreciate it. Thank you. All right, next up is item O from the Sheriff's Office.
Council, I move to approve the Sheriff's request in Fund 1156-0000 Firearms Training to create account line 21060 Training Supplies and simultaneously approve an additional appropriation of $100,000 in the supplies category.
Second.
All right, welcome. Thank you.
Hello. So this is just what we have to do annually to be able to spend the firearms training fund. We're just asking for more this year than previously so that we don't have to come back.
All right, any questions or comments on this item from council? Self-explanatory. All right. So if there is public comment, you can come forward to the lectern here or raise your hand via Teams. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Henry,
Yes.
Counselor Deckard, Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Feidel,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
All right. Next up is P.
Council, I move to approve the sheriff's request in Fund 4009-0000 Sheriff Sale Administration to create new account lines as outlined on the agenda and simultaneously approve an additional appropriation of $50,973.67 in the supplies category and $4,000 in the services category for a total appropriation of $54,973.67.
Okay.
So these funds come from the tax warrants and the sheriff sales, and we are wanting to be able to utilize with the increase in postage. We can use funds from this account to pay for postage, envelopes that we use to mail out the mailings, paper, everything related to those two things.
Any questions or comments from council on this item? All right. Seeing none, we'll go to public comment. Raise your hand via Teams or come to the podium here in the room. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Deckard,
Yes.
Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Feidel,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz,
Yes.
Counselor Henry.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
All right. Next up is Q.
Council, I move to approve the sheriff's request in Fund 4107-0000 Donation Sheriff's Department to create account lines outlined on the agenda and simultaneously approve additional appropriations of $4,000 in the supplies category and $10,613.02 in the services category for a total of $14,613.02.
Okay.
Like when I came in December, this is just funds that have been donated to the sheriff's office that the sheriff is allowed to use for either specific purposes or whatever he feels is necessary.
Any questions or comments from council on this item? Seeing none. Public comment, you can come forward to the lectern here or you can raise your hand via Teams. And still seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Feidel,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz,
Yes.
Counselor Henry,
Yes.
Counselor Deckard.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
Okay, next up, item R.
Council, I move to approve the sheriff's request in Fund 4108-0000 Donation Sheriff K9 to create account lines outlined on the agenda and simultaneously approve additional appropriations of $3,529.88 in the supplies category and $1,000 in the services category for a total of $4,529.88.
Second.
Same as with the donations, this is specifically for anything related to the canines.
Okay. Any questions or comments from council on this item? Seeing none, we will go to the public. If you have public comment, you can raise your hand via Teams or come to the podium. And still seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Feidel,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz,
Yes.
Counselor Henry,
Yes.
Counselor Deckard,
Yes.
Counselor Crossley.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
All right, thank you. Next up, we got items coming from the health department, starting with items S and T.
Council, I move to approve the Health Department's request in Fund 8112-9626 STD Strengthening Prevention to de-appropriate $58,835 in the personnel category and simultaneously amend the 2026 salary ordinance and remove account line 10142 Disease Intervention Specialist.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. It looks like Ms. Kelly is joining us virtually, and you may proceed.
Good evening, Council. Sorry about that. I was trying to get access. So this request is just to de-appropriate grant funding. So this was originally provided by the Indiana Department of Health for an additional disease intervention specialist. Due to the hiring freeze and not being able to recruit and fill this position, the Indiana Department of Health did ask for this funding back.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other questions or comments from council on this item? Seeing none, if there's public comment on this item, you can come forward to the lectern here or raise your hand via Teams. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Hawk. Oh, I'm sorry, I stepped away. Counselor Will?
Yes.
Counselor Henry?
Yes.
Counselor Deckard?
Yes.
Counselor Crossley?
Yes.
Counselor Iverson?
Yes.
Counselor Feidel?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay, next up is item U.
Council, I move to approve the Health Department's request in Fund 1161-9625 Local Public Health Services Grant to create account lines as outlined on the agenda and simultaneously approve additional appropriations of $831,306.80 in the personnel category, $130,376.17 in the supplies category, and $115,846.36 in the services category for a total appropriation of $1,174,529.33.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Kelly?
So what we've actually been working on doing is with our state funding, we are required to submit budgets and all of our financial reporting based upon the year that we received the state funding. So it was recommended that we created location numbers just to be able to help us better keep track of what funds, what year they're budgeted for, and for our reporting purposes. So this is basically just creating those new account lines with those locations for tracking purposes.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments from, almost at the county council? Anybody got questions or comments on this item? Lost my brain. All right. And seeing none, we'll go to public comment. If you have public comment on this item, you can raise your hand via Teams or come forward to the podium. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Counselor Henry?
Yes.
Counselor Deckard?
Yes.
Counselor Crossley?
Yes.
Counselor Iverson?
Yes.
Counselor Feidel?
Yes.
Counselor Hawk?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
All right. Next up is item V.
Council, I move to approve the Health Department's request in Fund 1161-9626 Local Public Health Services Grant to create account lines as outlined on the agenda and simultaneously approve additional appropriations of $629,053.20 in the personnel category, $17,944.83 in the supplies category, and $179,038.64 in the services category, for a total appropriation of $826,036.67.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Kelly, what would you like to add to this item?
So pretty much same thing. So this just allows us to submit to use a portion of those funds from 2026 for salary and expenses, and then we will submit to use 2025 funds since we're getting those locations for our remaining expenses.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from council on this item? Seeing none. Public comment, if you would like to have a comment on this item, you can raise your hand via Teams or come forward to the podium. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Henry,
Yes.
Counselor Deckard,
Yes.
Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Fidel,
Yes.
Counselor Hogg,
Oh, Councilor Hawk, you're
Counselor
muted.
Hogg.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Counselor Wiltz.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
All right, next up, we will go to item W as in winning. So let's go.
Council, I move to approve the Health Department's request in Fund 1161-0000, Local Public Health Fund, AD appropriation of $1,460,360 in the personnel category, $148,321 in the supplies category, and $391,885 in the services category for a total deappropriation of $2,566.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Kelly?
I think this is really just housekeeping again. So since we've created those locations, this is just deappropriating it from where it was previously.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from council on this item? Seeing none, we'll move to public comment. Raise your hand via Teams or come to the podium here in the room. Seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Deckard,
Yes.
Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Fidel, Counselor Hogg,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz,
Yes.
Counselor Henry.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
Thank you. Item X.
Council, I move to approve the Health Department's request to amend the 2026 salary ordinance in Fund 1161-0000, Local Public Health Services, to remove location number 0000 and to allow for multiple location designation for grant year periods, which is the current practice for other departmental grant funds.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Ms. Kelly?
Again, I think this is just housekeeping so that we update the salary ordinance with these changes.
All right, thank you. Any questions or comments? I saw a hand. Councilor Iverson.
Ms. Kelly, I really applaud this move. I know this probably comes from other places, but I think this is going to be much easier to track the different grant funds. So congratulations on taking this move.
All right, any other questions or comments from council? Seeing none, we'll move to public comment. You can come forward to the lectern here or raise your hand via Teams. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Fidel, Counselor Fidel,
Yes.
Counselor Hogg,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz,
Yes.
Counselor Henry, Counselor Deckard.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night. Next up, we already went through the clerk's office information. Next up, we are at the Youth Services Bureau with items AB.
Council, I move to approve the YSB's request, or Youth Service Bureau's request, in Fund 4100-0000 Donations Youth Shelter to create account lines outlined on the agenda and to simultaneously approve additional appropriations of $2,500 in the supplies category.
Second.
Okay. And I am looking, hello,
Hi.
welcome.
So the only reason that they're requesting these donation ones are because they used to be able to carry forward, and with our updated SBOA guidance, they need to be approved by you guys and or budgeted in the future. So the these values are right. I'm gonna double check the values really fast. Well, that's what I want to see is is what's at the very end of 2025. So I think in the supply line, there might be an issue or like the value might be off a little bit. I think that the unexpended from last year that we would normally carry forward into the new year would be $989.54 and not a full $1,000. But I don't want to miss.
We could table this to February 10th and get some clarification.
Council, I move to table this item to the February 10th meeting.
Second. Okay, we got a motion and a second to table this item until February 2nd, pending further clarification. Totally fine, it's okay. Any further questions or comments on this motion? All right. Public comment, come forward to the lectern here in the Nat U Hill Room or raise your hand via Teams. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Wiltz is not present. Counselor Henry?
Yes.
Counselor Deckard?
Yes.
Counselor Crossley?
Yes.
Counselor Iverson?
Yes.
Counselor Feidel?
Yes.
Counselor Hawk?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
All right, next up is item AC.
Council, I move to approve the Youth Service Bureau's request in Fund 4106-0000 donations safe place to CRE account line 36050 miscellaneous expenses and to simultaneously approve an additional appropriation of $6,467.71 in the services category.
Second.
All right.
Same thing. They just historically they would have been carried forward, but we're just aligning with the SBOA guidance and having them appropriated, hopefully budgeted in the future.
Okay, thank you. We appreciate that. Is there any other questions or comments, whether that's virtual or in person here? Seeing none. If there is public comment, you can come forward to the lectern here or raise your hand via Teams. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Henry?
Yes.
Counselor Deckard?
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz?
Yes.
Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Fidel,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
All right, next up is item AD.
Council, I move to approve the Youth Service Bureau's request in Fund 4110-0000, Donations Prevention General, to create account lines outlined on the agenda and to simultaneously approve an additional appropriation of $1,218.11 in the supplies category and $276.66 in the services category for a total appropriation of $1,494.77.
Second.
Same thing, just it was a donation fund and now we gotta go through.
Okay, so it seems like a lot of cleanup.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
just doing a lot of cleanup.
Housekeeping. Okay. All right, sounds good. Any questions or comments on this item from council? And seeing none, we'll go to public comment. Raise your hand via Teams or come to the podium here. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Deckard,
Yes.
Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Fidel,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz,
Yes.
Counselor Henry. Motion passes unanimous.
All right, next up is item AE.
Council, I move to approve the Youth Service Bureau's request in Fund 4111-0000, Donations BTCC, to create account lines outlined on the agenda and to simultaneously approve an additional appropriation of $1,600 and $12,600 in the services category for a total appropriation of $14,200.
Second.
All right, yeah.
Again, just housekeeping to get it approved.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council on this item? Seeing none, is there any public comment? Raise your hand via Teams or come to the podium. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Deckard,
Yes.
Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Fidel,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz,
Yes.
Counselor Henry. Motion passes unanimous.
You. Next up is item AF.
Gosh. Council, I move to approve the council office request in Fund 4116-0000, Donations Council Sophia Travis, to create account line 30031 Sophia Travis and to simultaneously approve an additional appropriation of $3,000 in the services category.
Second.
Okay, Michelle.
Yes, council appropriated this fund at back in 2025, but due to the agencies, there were several that didn't come in and sign their agreements accordingly. So we couldn't distribute those funds until then. So we are coming back to reappropriate this so that we can get the checks out to everyone.
Thank you for that. Any questions or comments from council on this item? Seeing none. If there's public comment on this item, you can come forward to the lectern here in the Natty Hill room or raise your hand via Teams. And seeing none, may we please have a roll call vote?
Counselor Deckard,
Yes.
Counselor Crossley,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Fidel,
Yes.
Counselor Henry, Counselor Hawk,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
Okay. Seeing that we don't have any presentations or county council business, we are next up at council liaison updates and comments. I'm going to go virtually to Councilor Hawk since she's there first, and then we will go wrap around from Councilors Henry on.
I'm not sure my Babette's going to let me say anything. First of all, I wanted to say that after being requested having to do with the highway issue, and I did put that on Facebook because I thought maybe if we could all put our minds together, we could come up with a solution. I hope that we understand. No way, in any way, did I ever want to fault the highway department. This is not their purview to work around how we're going to pay for this or what we might do to make this work. I know that in the past, we've had county legal work with the developers, come up with a plan, come up with the solution so that it could all be worked out. Now, this was a long time ago when we had people like Kirk White and others on the county commissioners. A lot's changed since then, but surely we can do something that we don't leave people out there without a way to get out for their public safety. But I think we've also got to do a better job of staying in touch with the people that this affects to let them know how our legal department, how we're working forward, where we are on each of these cases, because it's, I think more information is better than none. And there's so many that they just think nothing's being done. So I would like to see the commissioners and the legal department and the planning department sort of let us know where we stand, how many situations like this we might have, and what we can do to resolve them.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Councilor Henry.
Thank you, Madam President. Yeah, I would just put it on. I wrote down at the top of this ticking clocks. There's a lot of ticking clocks, I think, this month in the county. This is one of them. You know, the weather, and just picking up on Councilor Hawk's comments from what we've been talking about tonight. The likelihood that the snow melts in the next week is pretty minimal, right? And we have sunlight temperatures that kind of thaw things and then freeze them at night. And this is going to be back and forth at least for 5 or 6 days in some of these neighborhoods. As I mentioned, and very briefly, I called a few different folks today to try to figure out what the root cause is. And when it comes to school closure, when we have again 60 developments in the county that have varying degrees of clearance based on whether or not the developer did it or the HOA did it, it is delaying the reopening of the public schools. So there are second and third order impacts. Now, where does that happen? It happens at the planning phase. This is stuff we should be talking about in July, not January. It means that our emergency management agency needs to be pulled in on decision making. They're usually the second or third agency to get involved when we have weather like this after the Board of Commissioners and Highway. And I want to point out tonight the ticking clock of the budget. We heard Ms. Ridge say that this was about a $297,000 activity. I believe that the salt and sand resources have been drained a little bit, and it's just this, we're third week of January. So if this is winter, we're probably going to be looking at this conversation a few more times between now and March. So I'm hopeful, and I presume maybe I'll make some time to try to go to the commissioners meeting on Thursday to raise some of this in the public comment there, to say it's not enough just to point fingers or post on social media. The biggest challenge we have here is we do not still have, after the derecho, the cyclone bomb, the floods, the tornado, a public information officer where everybody in the community can go to know this is the official activities of the county. That is, I don't mean to be doing an after action report in real time, but until that point, we don't know what's going on as a body or a government, and these are things we really have to iron out. Now is an issue of safety, as it's been pointed out, Councilor Deckard and others here. I want to point out another ticking clock on my mind. We had a productive meeting with, I think, the Board of Commissioners about the jail last week. We didn't get, I think next steps, but we do need to start getting next steps there. But I was hopeful that we would be able to address in that meeting not only this question of what happened with the Sophia Travis grant program, which we didn't get to at the end of the year, about the ping-ponging of donations, and we never really got that public conversation. I guess we sort of fixed that tonight. But also, not April 15th is a deadline, but April 1st, because that's the deadline that is still out there for the clearing of the encampment at Thompson. I'd spoken with some of the mutual aid partners that brought that to our attention this week, and they are muddling through. It is awfully cold, but at the same time, the community still doesn't know what the plan is. I believe the commissioner's office has shared with me at this point the heading home plan as the plan, but the people that are living there do not have that information yet. And so as the clock ticks towards April 1, and it's not on our mind right now, but it will be in a month or two. I worry that we're going to be right back to where we were a few months ago when folks are filling the room, and we haven't really communicated what we're doing to them at this point. So that's on my mind too. Maybe on a somewhat positive note, we haven't been in this room since the football Hoosiers did their thing, and maybe that's why you're wearing burgundy down there, close to crimson. I don't know. But congrats to the students. Hopefully at this point in week 3 of the semester, they'll finally get their head in my class instead of at Memorial Stadium. But how exciting is all that? And I was thinking, as the trophy made its rounds to Kroger and Walmart, if we could maybe get a request to get it in the rotunda just for an hour or two. I don't know who we have to talk to about that, but it belongs in there for a day, don't you think? But anyway, that's it. Thanks.
It traveled.
Not here.
I mean, I get it. I like that idea.
All right, thank you, Madam President. I also wanted to start off with congratulations to national champions, the Indiana Hoosiers. I wanted to remark that as I was watching the game from home, I did not get to travel to Miami to watch the game. I know. It was really remarkable seeing the difference in ads from the different schools. IU ran ads talking about the work on treating cancer. You come here to Indiana University to overcome challenges. You come here to Indiana University to do research. And it made me think a lot about all of the great things that are happening right here in Monroe County. And a couple things stood out. Way back in September, Indiana University announced that we had surpassed the $1 billion mark in terms of research that's being done at Indiana University. There are major initiatives happening here at Indiana that we are just so thankful that we are attracting and retaining researchers to do the work that needs to be done to meet needs. I also wanted to point out that our alma mater, there's a couple of us here up on this dais, the O'Neill School continues to be #1 in the nation for Masters of Public Affairs. So if you want to learn how to do the things that we do up here, there is no better place than to come to Indiana University right here in Monroe County. So go Hoosiers, not only on the football field, but also in the lab and also over at the O'Neill School.
Take that, Harvard.
That's right.
Kennedy School, whatever. Sorry.
All right, Councilor Decker.
Thank you very much. I also want to join congratulations to our football Hoosiers. As I said on a comment, among all the difficulties of the world, it's nice to have good news and just something that you can look at and go, that's awesome, and what teamwork it is. As this year takes off and the weather is just what it is, a lot of people have told me this is about as bad as they've seen the snow. Some people that remember the blizzard of 78 indicate that it's either feels like that or reminds them, or they haven't shoveled at least like that since then. And the backside of me would agree with that very much. In fact, I'm wearing boots tonight. I'm probably going to keep them on till middle July. I do want to say on this issue that we have before us with developments and roads not getting clear, I appreciate what Councilor Henry said, that this is more of a July discussion. I sent a message off meeting to our commissioners. I appreciate them looking at it. I've heard back from 2 of the 3 on them. And again, this is not a county highway mess. The folks at County Highway, which went in, worked this time period, have done a wonderful job as their lives went on for 48 hours, as well as our first responders in the community. They all perform admirably. I think our task in county government, maybe city, maybe township, definitely state and federal, if I may. Our job is to kind of hit problems like those public servants do, where they hit it for about 48 hours straight and they come out with solutions. I mean, I've made a suggestion to the commissioners on a way to get geranium moving. And I have to be frank, some of the things I've heard back are just more of the discussion on why you can't do something. And I'm always reminded of the old LBJ. There's a quote, there's a million reasons why you can't do something. And it takes extraordinary leadership to figure out how we get to can. And I don't know. In every other emergency management situation, people's, tornado, flooding, or whatever, people kind of put things to the side and go, I got to move this along. Down the road, here's what we've learned. But it seems on this one that we're kind of stuck in all this like patchwork of things that prevent us. I don't know, maybe a fleet of us got to go over with shovels or something, but we can't just sit in the quagmire. Private sector does have responsibilities, but often government does what others will not do or cannot do or fail to do. And that's the reason it exists. So I'm going to keep pushing on that, but I really, these problems that we have don't go away. And we can't sit on a Monday night and watch a football game of extraordinary ability and charm and leadership and other things and then not figure out how we do that in our own sense. There's a lesson there among all that, both big and small. I also do want to say that warming stations, it took a minute to get the warming stations going compared to some of our previous responses. And I am grateful to the faith communities, including the place where I worship, First United Methodist Church, for jumping in to fill in some gaps on that. Where in the world would we be without our faith leaders who meet people, figure out things, and do it alongside our not-for-profit leaders? So thanks to all those folks, and I'll be quiet.
Thanks. We have 4 minutes until our mandatory stop time, so I will talk quickly and be brief. It's okay. I have several things, but actually, I just want to say that regarding the ticking clock of April 1st and the encampment at the Thompson property, I will be working with Commissioner Madeira and others on hopefully that specific issue. I think that the commissioner's task force that they're putting together is maybe a bit broader than that, but certainly I think pointing out the deadlines that we've imposed on people's lives is of the utmost importance. And I hope to carry that torch a little bit in those meetings. I haven't heard about anything being set up yet. I inquired last week. I will inquire again. So that's all I got. Thanks.
So I've been a part of 4 liaison assignment meetings. I won't delve into those, nothing earth-shattering any of those, but I did want to say I really enjoyed the Martin Luther King ceremony the same night as the championship game. It was about, the keynote speaker was about Coretta Scott King, and I really learned a lot about her life, and it was really refreshing to see how much of a partnership they were in working together, her and Martin Luther. Speaking of the championship game, 5 of my family went, so we were pretty invested in that. All the boys and my daughter went. So, and back to the plow issue. You know, I live in a neighborhood, I've been there now, it'll be 5 years this spring, and I'm one of the ones that doesn't have the county plow service because the developer has not committed his assignments and checked off the list or whatever they call that. But on the other hand, it was really, the first couple of years was really rough in trying to convince the developer that yes, he did have the responsibility to do the roads. And the last year or 2 has been phenomenally wonderful. One of the years we had bulldozers plowing through the neighborhood. So that was an event I hadn't seen before. But this year it's been terrific. So in some ways there are advantages, but on the other hand, I'd really like to have the county doing my roads. I really would. I had a great experience today talking with a county staff member about a plow issue that was clogging up one of the lanes on Centennial Drive near where I live, and he put it out there for the supervisor to go investigate, and I was really happy with that. But Centennial Drive is in the county road. That I wouldn't have gotten that, I think, with the developer. So there are advantages and disadvantages, but I'd really like to see it happen for all those neighborhoods. I didn't realize there were so many.
Yeah, thank you for that. So a lot of y'all said a bunch of things that I was thinking. So again, major shout out and thank you to public safety officials working around the clock this past week. And as we clear out everything, we appreciate that. And looking forward to the collaboration of trying to figure out this situation that we're in, because it does pose a public safety risk. So that is a thing. Never have I ever, in the 25 years that I've been here, did I ever think in my undergrad years I would ever root for a football team that I never went to a football game. And look at the tides have changed. I remember 24 years ago, it was in 2002 when IU went to the national championship at Purdue, and I was Maryland, went to the game, and we lost. So major kudos and shout out to everybody involved in that. The biggest thing is when we come back, it will be February 10th, which is the start of Black History Month. Want to definitely mention that. I know a lot of erasures might be around, but that is something that is still going to be celebrated no matter how much people try to take it away. Last but certainly not least, I have to say this because just thinking of public safety and a lot of different things, my heart's definitely out with the community in Minneapolis. And that's all I have to say about that. If it can happen there, it can happen anywhere. And so we have to look out for our neighbors. So with that being said, everybody, please get home safe and sound. And with that, I appreciate my colleagues sticking to the task, and we are adjourned. Thank you.